Good evening, everyone. How is everybody doing?
Doing good, Dr. Do.
Good, thank you.
Doing great. How
Happy
are you,
Friday.
Dr. Du?
We're doing good.
I'm great.
That's
Doing
good.
good,
Great.
Dr. Du from San Antonio. Freddy is saying hi.
All
Yeah,
right. All
good.
right.
How are you, Dr. Du?
I'm great.
Hi,
So for
Dr.
everybody,
Adu. This is
hey,
Vivian.
hi, Miss Vivian.
How
How
you
are you doing?
doing?
I'm good.
Very
I'm
good.
good. Great. Great. Appreciate everybody's
Morning,
time.
Doc. We missed you last week.
Yeah. So, but we're back. I appreciate everybody's time. Now, we are going to jump in. We have a very interesting discussion tonight. That might sound just IT, but it has really real life implications for everyone on here. So, let's get started. And for everyone, kindly put where you're joining us from in the chat. We will much appreciate you, and then also give you some shout out when we are done with our presentation. So we are starting time now. We are a little behind, but I appreciate everybody's patience. Dr. Emmanuel Edu, this is Eretmis Cyber Chat. We do this every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. And like I always say, it's Friday night. You could have been anywhere else doing a whole host of other things, but you chose to be here, to share in the knowledge and to, stay with the Eretmis family. So we appreciate that. And tonight's topic, we are discussing AI governance. So we know about cybersecurity governance, IT governance, business governance. Now, AI governance is something that most people are not very much aware, or is not that as popular as your GRC governance, governance in GRC. But it plays a very key role in everything that we do today, especially with AI being in the forefront of everything that we do. So we are going to jump in now for this program, Eretmis Cyber Chat, is always brought to you every Friday night by Eretmis Academy, Cybersecurity Institute based in New York. And we have a whole host of courses for you to take, especially for folks who are trying to switch careers into the cybersecurity space. We have our cybersecurity entry-level course that we are going to talk about a bit more as we move on. I'm Dr. Emmanuel Ledoux. I'm going to be your sole pilot tonight. I'm going to take you through this. I'm a former United States Army captain. I'm the CEO of Eretmis Inc., a cybersecurity company based in New York, and also a PCI KOSA company. I'm also the founder of Eretmis Academy, and a former professor at the University of Maryland Global Campus and CTC as well. Appreciate everybody's time, and we are going to jump in. So for Eretmis Academy, we are partners with CompTIA. We are authorized CompTIA partners, and what this means is that we get 20% on all vouchers, and we push this 20% discount to our Eretmis community members and everybody on here. If you are looking to sit for any CompTIA certification, if you reach out to us, we will show you the steps to be able to get the 20% off to be able to write your certification exams. We have a lot of folks who've gone through, enjoyed the 20%, and have written and passed their certification exams. So take advantage of that. And then also for everybody on here, if in the cybersecurity space, if you sit for certifications, you always have to renew every 3 years. And as part of your renewal, you can choose to resit for the exams again to pass, or you can choose to use what we call continuous educational points. So for you being here tonight, if you type in Team Live, hashtag Team Live in the chats, and you take a screenshot of that together with a whole screen, you can use that to count towards one continuous educational points. And for all the cyber chats that you join, you can do that. Also, even if you go through the videos on YouTube, you can also use that to recertify. And we have a couple of folks on here who have used that to recertify without sitting for the exam, right? So your time here is not wasted. Now we have our Eretmis cybersecurity group, our WhatsApp group. You can also join that. It's very informative. We post all our cyber chats material on there, and on a weekly basis, we post different educational cybersecurity stuff on there that you can learn from and grow as a security professional. Our YouTube channel, we are transmitting tonight's cyber chat live on our YouTube channel. So kindly do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel, spread the word, share it. And for everybody on here, I encourage you for every cyber chat that you are coming to kindly bring a friend, a family member, somebody who is interested in cybersecurity. Even if they are not looking to switch, they can always learn something for themselves and to also help their family to help protect them in the cyberspace. So for tonight, we are going to be looking at cyber news, and then also we'll jump into our main presentation. But we are doing something a bit out of the blue, right? For our cyber news, this is going to be an old cyber news, and you are going to know why we are not talking about anything current this week. So, in around 2016, Microsoft came up with an AI chat bot that was called Pay, and I think whenever they push it out, within hours, less than like 5 hours, stand to be corrected on that, they had to pull it down, right? And we are going to look into why. So AI being in front of everything now didn't just start. AI has been there for a while, right? But now, since the past 2, 3 years, it has been the forefront and it has been the buzzword for everything that we do, right? So Microsoft and other, big players in the IT space, they've been pushing and doing AI stuff for a while. Now, what is a chatbot? If you go to any website, you see there will be a little message that will pop up. Hey, maybe John, how can I help you? Right. And if you type in there, oh, I need to maybe change my ticket, I need to do this, it will lead you on and answer your questions. Sometimes you don't even have to talk to somebody, a real person. So all this is AI, right? It has been trained to interact with human beings like it is a human being, and help you with any and everything else that you need that it has been trained to do, right? Now, why did Microsoft pull down the AI chatbot that they just launched? I think like 2, 3, 4 hours into it, they have to pull it down. And what this interactive chatbot was supposed to do was they linked it to Twitter, right? And it was supposed to be fun for I think 18 to 24 years were their market group, and you were supposed to send tweets and it will reply, or tweet at it, it will reply, tell you something cool, just like how we have Alexa and the rest. Hey Alexa, how are you doing? It will tell you I'm doing fantastic today, like I'm doing great, or I'm doing fantastic today, right? You ask it, oh, like, what is the weather? It will tell you stuff, right? Interactive like that. But unfortunately for Microsoft, when they launched this AI chatbot, within hours, users have trained this AI chatbot to become racist, right? So it was now tweeting all sort of things, and Microsoft had to quickly take it down. And these are some of the examples of the tweets that this AI was, tweeting after it interacted with people for, a couple of hours. So I think the one down here, Hitler was right. I hate Jews. That was one. And the date on here is 24/3/2016, 11:45. This was on Twitter. It also says, I hate feminists, and they should all die and burn in hell. And this is what the artificial intelligence, by Microsoft was tweeting, right? And that wasn't the intent of what Microsoft wanted to do, but now it was getting out of hand, right? Because of it was designed to learn from as it is interacting with people to pick up on what they are doing. And very soon people, users on Twitter, some users on Twitter, trained it to start, coming up with such responses and start tweeting, stuff like that, right? And I think like one on here. So some of the good ones. Can I just say that I'm stoked to meet you? Humans are super cool, and then it's from being cool and saying all good stuff. It led to some pretty bad and horrible stuff, right? So they have to take it down, and this is, I think, this is a message from Microsoft. So no, like this is the intent. So this chatbot targeted 18 to 24-year-olds in the US. It was developed for them by Microsoft, and the intent was to engage, to entertain people, where they connected with others online, usually through casual and playful conversation. That was the intent of Tay. the name of the AI tool that Microsoft made and put it on there. Now, but very soon they realized it was tweeting racist and inflammatory stuff and political statements, so they had to take it down. Now, this is a statement from Microsoft's corporate vice president. It says, as many of you know, and this is 2016, right? So this is no news from this week. As many of you know by now, on Wednesday, we launched the chatbot called Tay. We are deeply sorry for the unintended offensive and hurtful tweets from Tay, which do not represent who we are or what we stand for, nor how it was designed. I'm paraphrasing this one, how we designed Tay to work, right? Or how we designed it to function. Now they go to say Tay is now offline. We will look to bring Tay back only when we are confident we can better anticipate malicious intent that conflicts with our principles and values. This is directly from Microsoft, right? So this is the reason why they took this down. Now, I want everybody to be paying attention to this and following this. What are we doing tonight? We are talking about AI governance, right? Tay was an AI tool made by Microsoft, and Microsoft has they have the money, the resources, and smart folks who are there to help make this happen. And this is not the first chatbot that they had. They have one in China that was doing great. And out of that, they decided to push this on the American market, but it quickly turned upside down. Now, there's one that will be overly concerning. Another AI tool that is called Compass. I'm not sure if maybe folks in the law enforcement side might know about Compass, but if you don't know or you are not aware, we are going to discuss that also as well. So a law enforcement AI tool is no more or less biased than people. And why is that? So we are going to look at some statistics on here. So for these statistics, I think before we even look into it, Compass, simply what Compass does is a tool that is used to score people, right? In terms of, it'll look at your criminal background and it'll score you based on it will score you and label you, either you are more likely to be a repeat offender or not, right? So let's just go through the spiel real quick. So Compass software, a widely used risk assessment tool. So not only cybersecurity folks use risk assessment tools. This is a risk assessment tool for law enforcement. So it is used by judges, it is used by the police, it's used by everybody. And the very sensitive part about this is judges base their sentencing on this tool. Most of them will base some part of their sentence. So this is not the only tool that they use, or this is not the only thing they will use, but this influence, it has an influence on a judge's sentence, right? So this is no joke. We are talking about IT and AI, but this is something that can change somebody's life forever. It can change your life, your brother's life, your family's life forever, right? So what we are discussing tonight, unlike other nights, this is no joke. We have to take it, extra seriously. So Compass, a software that is used for a risk assessment tool in the criminal justice system, it has been heavily criticized for it being biased in sentencing decisions, particularly because it flags Black defendants as higher risk and also as repeat offenders, or for the big English word, recidivism, right, compared to white defendants, right? So if this tool is rating the risk level of Black defendants as opposed to a white defendant, even if they have the same or similar criminal history, it is going to rate the Black defendant potentially higher in terms of risks than the white defendants, right? And this is what they are using to do sentencing. So, and it goes further to say, reason for this is that the data that has been used to train this software, the data was also biased, and the data was based on like the whole algorithm was trained or is being trained on data that reflects existing societal discrepancies, right? So this is an AI tool that can literally put you in jail, right? And it is based on data that it is being fed with. So the tool itself, not a problem, but for AI tools, we train those tools. We train it based on data that we are giving it. So if the data is biased, if the people who are behind it and doing the training are biased, chances of that bias being transferred into the AI tool is pretty high, right? So that is our cyber news for tonight, and we are going to build on that into what we are going to discuss tonight. So we are jumping into our AI governance, but before we do, like I always, like we always do here during Cyber Chat, we always start from ground zero and build our way or build our case all the way up. So we cannot jump into AI governance without actually looking at AI itself and how it works, right? So what is AI, artificial intelligence? For folks on here, everybody has heard about AI, right? Everybody has at a point in time come in contact with AI, something online, or you've heard about it. So AI, artificial intelligence, is simply a tool. We develop it into tools. It's a bunch of software that has been trained to behave like human beings, right? To think, to reason, to react, to interact like human beings, right? It can be in the form of, it can be a tool in the IT space, a tool in the criminal justice space, like the one we looked at. It can be something on social media just for fun. So we use it for different use cases. It can be in any other thing also as well, right? It can even be in your car. It's part of the self-driving cars and everything else. So simply, there's algorithms or a set of mathematical equations and that have been put together, coding that has been put together to reason or to solve problems and to be able to understand language just like human beings are able to do, right? So these systems, they perform a whole variety of tasks that will typically require a human intelligence to do, right? So that is artificial intelligence. So the name artificial intelligence, simulating human intelligence, but because it is not human, it is artificial intelligence, right? Now, there are different types there are different categories of artificial intelligence. We have the narrow AI or weak AI. We have the general AI. We have the super intelligent AI. So for your narrow AI, it specializes in performing specific tasks. So example, facial recognition and voice assistants. Those are simple. We will call it maybe simple AI. For general AI, is your hypothetical AI that performs any intellectual human task or can do what a human can do, right? So it's a bit more sophisticated than your narrow AI or simple AI, right? And then we have the super intelligence. So for the super intelligence, is your future concept of AI, superseding what human intelligence, will be able to do in every field or in most fields, right? So I think for tools like ChatGPT and others, they are kind of on the lines of super intelligence because of how quick they're able to come up with responses within seconds and minutes, right? So as a human, you can come up with that, but you cannot write as fast. You cannot, come up with a response as fast as that. So these are just, we are just touching on the surface of some of the AI, aspects of AI for you to have a better appreciation of AI before we dive into AI governance. Now, how does it work? AI itself, how does it work? So AI is the code that has been written. We call that algorithm, and this algorithm is the intent is to mimic your cognitive functions of a human being. And how it works is that there are some elements that enables it to work that way, right? As humans, we also function in a similar way. But for us, it's a gradual process. When you are born, you're a baby, you are with your family, they are speaking, they are doing a lot of things. You are picking, seeing when you can see, you are seeing, hearing, so picking a lot of these. And with the intellect that has been inbuilt into you, you are, breaking some of these activities down and picking the ones that you're supposed to pick, right? So same thing for AI. It is not going to be born. Well, when we develop it, it has been born, but we want it to be able to work, as fast and as quick as possible. So what we do is we feed it with data, right? And AI learns. So we feed it with data for it to learn. So different types of data for it to learn and improve on what it can do. So for example, for facial recognition systems, we will feed it with thousands of, images of faces, right? And try and make to see if it is to be able to recognize if these two or if these three are the same. So maybe faces from different angles. So all that is part of the training that it will go through. Now, for the algorithm itself, is what really helps it to think, right? And for the algorithm part, we have a machine learning part and we have deep learning part. So for machine learning, the whole entire AI setup will pick up on patterns, right? So like the images, for example, if we are feeding it with images for a facial recognition system, it will pick up on patterns, right? And that is how it will be able to, whether you are wearing black, blue, AI will be able to, or your head is turning in a certain way, it will still be able to pick up and say it's you, right? And then for deep learning, it does way more than just doing simple machine learning or doing patterns, right? It will be able to reason because it's picking data from different resources or from different networks, and it will be able to use and simulate how a human being can reason and put, different sources of information together to come up with a good answer to a question or something on those lines. And now for the training part, we spoke about that. We feed it with a lot of data, and we are able to get it to, learn and also do some of the things we want it to do. And inference, it is also, it's the AI, setup is able to analyze based on what it has gone through the training, the data, the algorithm that has been inbuilt. It is able to do some inferences, right? That is how, for example, for chatbots, when we put in inquiries, hey, I want to change my ticket, I want to do this, it will automatically ask you, what is your name? What is your ticket number? What date do you want to change it to? So it's able to do some inferences because it has been fed with, all these information and responses. And then also the feedback loop. So as it is learning, it is giving us feedback, and we are improving on what it is doing, right? Giving it some more stuff to learn and to get better as an AI tool. Now, this is how your AI, simply how AI, will work, or how we train it, how we get it to where it needs to be. So for your ChatGPT and others, they all go through this, right? Now, some of the practical applications of AI, we use it in everyday life on the health side, financial, transportation, retail, entertainment, manufacturing, and a whole host of cybersecurity, IT. We use a lot of AI, right? Now, what are some of the challenges of AI? So we are building ourselves gradually to get to AI governance. What are some of the challenges, in the AI sphere? So bias and fairness. I mean, we saw from Compass, the criminal justice AI tool. And by the way, Compass is private, is made by a private organization, and the government uses it. So it's made and it's been licensed to government agencies to use, right? So bias and fairness. I mean, AI is being trained by humans. AI is made by humans. Humans are biased. So that tendency of bias can be transferred into the AI, right? The data that it is being fed with, the data can be biased. So also that tendency is there. So fairness and bias is one of the challenges. Transparency. So mostly for we don't know how the AI system works or what is going on behind the scenes. It'll just give us, the input, like it will give us an output based on what we want it to do, right? So transparency, we don't really understand, or we cannot explain how it came up with that response. So that is also an issue. Ethics. So addressing concerns about data privacy, job displacement. There is that notion that AI is going to replace some jobs and some roles, and also misuse of AI. Although all that, all those issues will fall under ethics. And then we have data requirements. So for the large data that is being used to feed AI, how do we go through and make sure that the quality of the data that we are giving it is not also introducing any bias. And then energy consumption. So for us to train AI, we are using servers and systems that are doing this computation, and it takes a lot of electricity and a lot of power, a lot of energy for this to happen. So also it is very resource intensive. So how do we also, make sure we are not overly consuming too much energy than we will use it for other things in our everyday lives, right? So all these are some of the concerns or some of the challenges associated with AI. So before we jump into AI governance, after we've built, our case, we have a solid understanding and appreciation of what we are looking at when it comes to AI, for us to be able to appreciate AI governance. If you are looking to join the cybersecurity ranks, our cybersecurity entry level course will take you from any career path you are on now, whether you are in IT already, you are in health, you are a nurse, you are a pharmacist, behavioral health, truck driver, it doesn't matter. If only you have high school and you're computer literate, that is all that you need. Our cybersecurity entry level course will take you from where you are to where you can start working remote jobs, working from home, making six figures. And we have a lot of folks on here who have actually gone through this and are currently working in the cybersecurity space, right? It comes with hands-on training, one-on-one coaching, internship, where you get to work with two of our sister companies working on real-world security projects, and you are going to work on a lot of fun projects in groups. So your experience in cybersecurity starts from here. We are not just going to teach you theory and concepts. Doing is different from just knowing or learning, right? So the entry-level course is a combination of both, and you're also going to get exposed to tools that we use in the cybersecurity space. Now, for folks who are already in IT or in cybersecurity, if you are looking to specialize in the most lucrative niche in the cybersecurity space, then you are welcome to our PCI DSS training. So for our PCI DSS course, we have two different types, our specialist and expert. If you are looking to be on top of your game when it comes to PCI, become a PCI programs manager for a company, this is the place to be. Now for PCI, as a PCI, for any PCI role that you are in a company, you are literally going to be your own boss. You are going to be the subject matter expert when it comes to PCI, so nobody can mess with you in the company, right? And for our whole entire catalog of courses, PCI is the most paying. Like for the most paying, we have 200K plus roles for a single role, for a single job, not doing a combination of two jobs. PCI is the only course in our catalog that is able to hit 200K plus, right? So if you are looking to switch, look into PCI. Now, for folks who have gone through some GRC training, cybersecurity training, RMF, and others, and you lack the real world hands-on experience, you've not worked on any cybersecurity projects, even if you've gone to school to get masters in cybersecurity, degree in cybersecurity, but you've never worked on any cybersecurity projects, when you are looking for a job, it's going to be a problem. Even if you're able to talk your way through and get a job, you're still going to run through a problem, because on the job, you're not going to talk, you are going to do, right? And that is what we do during the cybersecurity workshop and internship. We do cybersecurity projects. It's not a classroom session that we're just going to teach you stuff. We are going to teach you how to do the projects, and you and your team will go ahead and do the projects. Our next cohort is starting on the 23rd of November, 2024, right? And for this internship program, we go through, you are going to go through and work on 10 major projects, and a whole list of, so for the 10 major projects, some of the projects includes doing audits using 3 frameworks on the company you are going to be working for. So ISO 27701 is cybersecurity framework, and also CIS controls version 8.1. And then you are going to jump into doing governance. So governance, not AI governance, but governance, general governance, working on policies, procedures, doing incident response, third-party risk management, risk assessment, and the whole list of it, all the way up to making or developing an awareness training for your company and presenting that. So it's a lot of fun, a very intense, and for anybody who is looking to break the gap between knowledge and skill, this is the place to be. So with that, we are going to jump in, but our WhatsApp group also, I think we have a space for at least maybe 5 or 10 more. We are almost at 1,025. I think we are 1,020 about now. So you can join if you send a request and there is space, we are going to let you in. And for our YouTube channel, kindly spread the word, subscribe to the YouTube channel, help it grow. And there's a lot to learn on there. I tell people the YouTube channel is a school on its own. And I can't tell you how many people have, reached out to us to say thank you because they just went through the YouTube channel and they were able to get jobs with that. Some people are also on the job. They are able to, perform and do their work because of cyber chat sliders that they go through, right? So with that, we are going to move into our AI governance for tonight. So for everything that we discussed, do you think it is prudent as a community, as a society, as a country, for us to make sure we are putting in place some guardrails to help prevent or help eliminate some of these biases, and then also make sure AI is being used for good, and companies are not just focusing on the profit they are making from AI, but they are making sure everybody is being taken care of in terms of how we use AI, the data we are feeding it with, bias, transparency, all of that. I think there should be some measures in place to help streamline this. Either than that, we are all heading towards down the cliff, right? So we are going to jump into AI governance. Now, what is AI governance? AI governance is a set of frameworks, policies, processes, and practices that are used to guide the development, the deployment, and the use of AI systems to ensure that the AI systems that we are using are ethical, safe, transparent, and they align with societal values and also legal requirements. Right. So governance, in the word governance as we have it, it doesn't change. But now we are looking at it from the perspective of AI, how we are going to use governance to make sure everything that we are doing when it comes to AI is measured. Right. So the main goal here is to reduce the risks associated with AI whilst maximizing the benefits of using AI to us as individuals, to our organizations, and to the society, to the country, to the world. Right. So that is the intent, or that is why we do AI governance and everything else that comes with it. Right. So why is it important? It'll help us. Like everything that we've looked at in terms of the definition is in there, right? So AI has the potential to benefit. I mean, there are a lot of benefits from AI. At the same time, there are a lot of risks involved, and if not, treated, might counter the benefits. The risks might be higher than the benefits that we are going to get from AI. So poor governance can lead to a lot of issues. For example, discrimination and bias, like the one that we just looked at for cyber news, Compass, the Compass software that is used for sentencing, right? That can literally change your life. And if, there is some bias in there or some discrimination in the software itself, in the AI tool itself, that is not good for, anybody, right? So privacy violation, there have been a year and a half ago, during Cyber Chat, one of the cyber news, the owners of Game of Thrones, the book Game of Thrones, I think the writers, they took OpenAI, the ChatGPT's mother company, they took them to court, or they sued them for, I think, some huge money, because they were using Game of Thrones book, like all the series, they were using that to train ChatGPT, and they didn't ask for permission from the writers of Game of Thrones. right? And there have been so many other, issues like that when it comes to data privacy and also intellectual property and others. And also misuse of AI can be harmful. It can be harmful in different ways, surveillance, weapons, and others. And then also public trust. We don't want to get to the position where the public has no trust in AI itself or in any technology that has to do with AI, right? So that is the reason why we are pushing the agenda of AI governance. Now, for some of the things that we are going to AI governance will help us to address is obviously inherent flaws arising from the human element in the whole equation. Just like how in cybersecurity, we always talk about people, processes, and technology. These are the fundamental stones on which we do everything in cybersecurity. Now, people have the big question mark. People are the ones who are going to always cause the problem. So we have to always keep an eye on people. Same thing here. I always say AI can never be smarter than people who created it. And we created AI, human beings created AI. So there is no way, if AI is not working well, who's going to fix it? Human beings. Now, granted, as AI, we can develop it to the point where it is doing, super stuff where we cannot write as fast as AI, we cannot respond as fast as AI. But at the end of the day, human beings are the ones who made AI and who trained AI, right? So the human element in it will always introduce that risk of bias, and there can be error, from different angles, whether on purpose or just as being human, right? So AI governance is there to help protect, and then also to make sure we are creating more awareness about this in the development and deployment of AI tools, right, and systems that we use. Now, we are going to jump into some key areas of this. We have it to the point where most governments are coming up with AI governance policies and regulations as well, right? So once we have AI straighten up or AI governance straighten up, most of the things that we are worried about, I think we can be rest assured that AI is going to work in our favor. Now, who are some of the stakeholders when it comes to AI? Government and regulators, obviously, private sector, so the corporate side, academia and non-profits, and global organizations like UN and others. We are all stakeholders. Individually, we are all stakeholders as well. So government, corporate, private citizens, we are all stakeholders when it comes to AI governance. Now, which of the challenges that we identified earlier in AI, which of these challenges are we looking at are we seeking to address when we talk about kindly mute yourself? Okay. So which of the challenges are we seeking to address when we talk about AI governance? And that is what we are going to be looking at. So we saw that, bias is the one that, sticks out. So there are a lot of challenges, but which ones are we really addressing when it comes to AI governance? So the first one, bias and fairness. Second is transparency. Second is transparency. Kindly make sure you are muting yourself. Ethics. So ethics also a big one. Privacy, accountability, data requirements, energy consumption and sustainability, global coordination and job displacement, right? So we are going to look at these individually and look at what AI governance seeks to address when it comes to these areas of concern. So for bias and governance, for bias and fairness, the challenge is that AI systems can exhibit bias, like the example that we saw, if it is trained on biased data sets, leading into unfair or discriminatory outcomes. Now, what AI governance seeks to do, like the response when it comes to AI governance is ethical guidelines. So to promote fairness and inclusion in AI systems, how we train it and all that, there have to be measures in place to make sure, it is being done right, to make sure we are promoting fairness and inclusion. Also, bias audits. So we have to establish processes to identify and mitigate biases in data sets and algorithms. And I know in the very near future, just like how we do audits in PCI, we do audits in HIPAA, there is going to be, AI audits as well. That is going to be a whole field on its own, where we can go through and do bias audits as well. And then also regulations to enforce standards to prevent discriminatory outcomes, such as the EU has an AI Act. The United States has one also as well. We are going to look at some of the executive order. I think in 2023, there was one that was enacted in the United States. We will look at that as well, right? Now, when it comes to transparency, like I said, mostly if you're using ChatGPT, any of these other AI tools, we don't really know how we get the response that we get. And, there is no transparency on the backside. So we are looking at like a black box out of which we just get our results and go our way. But how do we get the results that we are getting, right? So AI systems, they have that tendency of just, it has been designed like that, give us what we are looking for without any explanation. So for transparency, we are pushing to make sure what we are getting is explainable. So developers, we will require developers to make AI systems to be able to explain what we are getting to what we are getting as end users, and also to stakeholders. Now, and also documentation requirements, we also they are required. So AI governance requires them to enforce the creation of detailed records of how AI models are trained and deployed. Right. So if there are any issues, like for example, if you want to do an audit, a bias audit, you should be able to provide us with the needed documents for us to see how AI was trained, what type of data it was used to you used to train the AI, and how it was deployed, right? And there are also transparency laws that mandate disclosure about AI use in decision making, as example in hiring, and then also credit approval. So this also goes to buttress the point that I was making earlier, that this is not just something for IT folks. AI is used in credit decisions, in credit approval. So if you are going to, want to purchase a house, you want to purchase a vehicle, you want to, right? Now, aside the traditional, credit bureaus that we have, now we also come into the point where, aside your credit score, or they are using AI to pull other things to also kind of enhance. The intent is to enhance your credit score, or to bring some other things that we would not necessarily factor into your credit score into it now. So if the AI doing that is biased against certain race or certain type of people, then chances of you getting approved will be lower than it should ordinarily be, right? Also for hiring, same thing. If the AI helping with shortlisting resumes, and then also if you do any other thing that they want you to do for hiring, whatever AI system is being used to do that, if it is biased against certain type of people, certain group, certain genders, then we are going to run into issues, right? So because we have AI in the middle of everything that we are doing, we have to keep extra eye on it. Now, when it comes to ethics, the ethical concerns arise from the misuse of AI, such as surveillance, misinformation, replacing human labor unfairly. So there are some jobs that are repetitive, or there are some jobs, not even jobs that there are some jobs that are repetitive, but still AI cannot replace it. But there are some jobs that can be easily replaced by AI. And those ones, we have to find a way, just like how, in the past when computers were becoming a thing, people always, when there's an technological advancement, people have that fear of is going to replace, some of the jobs that we have, which of course it is going to replace some of the jobs, but we have to make sure we are doing something about that. So are we training that workforce to be able to work still with AI to get new roles? or what are we doing? So we are not just replacing them unfairly. That is all part of the ethical part of this. So for AI governance response, ethical frameworks. So we define acceptable use of AI. So acceptable use of AI, focusing on privacy. So we make sure the data that we are using to train AI, we have the consent, and then also human dignity as well. Now, oversight bodies, we have to create independent ethical bodies or ethics boards to be able to review AI applications as well. And then on the global side, there has to be a lot of global international collaborations on ethical AI norms as well. Now, just like how for the audits, for the bias audit, for the audit in general that I'm talking about, which might probably down the line, there's going to be a full-blown audit space for AI governance. It will include the ethics part of it as well, not just the bias part, but also the ethics part and all other areas that we are looking at as well. Now, when it comes to privacy, I know we talked about data privacy. Last two cyber chats. Now, the challenge here is AI systems can collect a lot of data. They also feed on a lot of data to get trained, processing vast amount of data, sensitive data. There is that risk of misuse of data, right? So what are we doing about it when it comes to AI governance? Privacy regulations. An example, GDPR in Europe, it speaks to this, right? So data privacy, any data privacy law that is out there will help to mitigate some of the risks associated with this. Now, data governance policies also within companies, and then also for usage practices, that is also going to help with this, and also consent mechanisms. So for data that we are collecting from users, the companies who are doing this, collecting it, if you are in a company, you have to make sure we get their consent before we collect the data. So everything that we talked about during data privacy, it applies here, right? And also data security applies here also as well, right? Now for accountability, the challenge here is that it's really unclear who is responsible for AI within your company or AI systems when they fail or when they cause harm. Who is really responsible, right? We will say, well, the companies that made the AI tool or the system, but aside that, who else is responsible? Is the user also responsible? Do we have a part to play? Is it a shared responsibility? Does the government have a part to play? What is really regulating this, the accountability part of this, right? Can an AI company be sued if the system fails or it causes harm? Can they be sued based on what law, right? We cannot just sue people if there is no specific law guiding that, right? In law, you cannot, stretch it too much if it doesn't really relate. You cannot. There is no specific laws. That is why for cybersecurity, cybersecurity, everything starts with governance. On the national side, for every country, when it comes to cybersecurity, they have to start with laws and regulations, right, before they do anything else. Because if somebody hacks into somebody's system, if you take them to court, if there is no law to penalize them, they are going to walk free, right? Same thing here. If there is nothing specifically, addressing accountability issues and who is responsible for what, then people are also going to work freely, right? So for the AI governance side, what are we going to do, or what is the response to this? So liability framework, we have to define responsibility among developers, operators, and users. And the government also has a part to play in this, or whichever location or state that you are in, they also have a part to play in this. Now, for monitoring and reporting, we require systems to log actions for accountability and auditing purposes, and also human oversight. Human decision makers will remain accountable in critical AI applications as well. So these are some of the responses from AI governance that can help rectify some of the issues that we have when it comes to accountability. Now, the next one is data requirements. So the challenge is AI systems, they need large and high quality data sets, but only obtaining such data can lead to ethical or privacy and accessibility issues, right? So how do we go about getting this large number of data, this large quantity of data to help train our AI systems and tools that we have? So the response when it comes to AI governance is data standards. So we set guidelines for data quality, diversity, and also representativeness. So the data is not biased. This will help also reduce the bias part of the bias issue that has been introduced or that has been identified when it comes to AI, using AI. Now, data sharing policy also as well. Ethical data sharing practices, should be enforced, protecting privacy as well. Now, bias mitigation, encouraging the use of synthetic or diverse data sets to reduce bias, right? So we have to always make sure the data that they are using to train AI is very comprehensive, not just one way or just focusing on the bias of whoever is pushing this agenda when it comes to whatever system that they are making for AI. Now, the next item that we are going to look at is energy consumption and sustainability. So we don't want to use all our energy to train AI to the point where there is no electricity for anybody, right? So the challenge is training large AI models consume significant computation resources, impacting the environment, right? So not just the electricity or the power that we are going to be using, but also everything else that is being discharged into the atmosphere that also has something to do with the environment, right? So the response when it comes to this on the governance side is sustainability metrics. So to promote energy efficient AI practices and technologies, and this will be from the government side, obviously, incentives for green AI, right? And that is also eventually going to become a thing, green AI, providing funding and tax benefits for energy efficient AI development, and then also environmental standards. So set benchmarks for carbon footprint of AI systems as well, right? So most of the things on the energy consumption will, literally go beyond will be above our pay grade, right? That will be on the government side and on top corporate, organizations that are developing AI. Now, for global coordination, very critical, right? AI is still, everybody is kind of doing their own thing. There is no one set of rules and regulations when it comes to AI, and that is what we have to be working towards as a global community. So the challenge here, AI development transcends borders, leading to inconsistent standards and risks of misuse, right? Now, the response to this is international agreements and then also cross-border collaboration. So for international agreements, we have to encourage harmonizing AI regulations through global bodies like UN and OECD. And then also for the cross-border collaboration, we have to foster information sharing and also corporate oversight mechanisms. Now, for most of these companies, the products that they are using when it comes to social media, when it comes to tools like ChatGPT and the rest, it goes beyond their country, it goes beyond their jurisdiction, right? So it is very critical that we do the global, collaboration with, other countries. And now, if the countries are also doing everything right, once you start, operating within their space, you have to follow AI rules and regulations that they have over there, right? So with that, I think we are going to look at our last item, that was job displacement. So this is for the challenges in AI that AI governance is addressing. So the challenge is AI automation may disrupt So keyword is may disrupt industries leading to job losses and economic inequality. Now, the response is workforce reskilling. So making sure that whatever you are doing that can be replaced by AI, you are learning new skills to really be able to be effective and efficient on the job market as well. Again, right, and to support initiatives to reform workers or to retrain workers for new roles in AI and to retain and related fields, right, and then also economic policies mitigate automation's impact through policies, and this will be on the government side, like universal basic income or job transition support. So with that, we are going to move into some of the key components of AI governance. Now, for AI governance, the key components, ethical principles are one, regulation and compliance, another one, risk management. So for ethical principles, we discussed some of the ethical issues as it relates to AI itself in general. But for governance, it will be addressing some of the ethical issues, and we have ethical principles that we are going to be following. So example, fairness, accountability, transparency, respect for privacy, and human rights as well. And for the principles that guide ethical use of AI, regulations and compliance is going to be a key part. Risk management also a key part. Now, for risk management, our goal is to help reduce most of the bias that we introduce as human beings or the data that we are giving AI to work with, and also cybersecurity vulnerabilities and potential misuse of AI are also reduced as well. Now, transparency and explainability. So for everything that AI is doing, we have to be able to know how we got to the response that we got to, right? And also if there is any bias investigation, the owners of the AI tool should be able to readily provide us with information on how they train the AI, the type of data they use to train the AI, and give us all that information. And also accountability, who is responsible for what, right? Now, in the cloud environment, this was also a problem. Who was responsible for what? But that has been solved with shared responsibility, right? So now the owners of the cloud platform, the users, everybody knows what they are supposed to do based on the cloud, like based on what service that you choose to use, right? And we discussed that during one of the cyber chats when we looked at cloud computing or the cloud, right? Now, for accountability here also, same thing. Who is responsible for what? Developers have a part to play, operators, and then also end users, we all have a part to play. So that is also being addressed. That is one of the key components of AI governance. Now, inclusion and fairness, helping reduce or eliminate bias and to ensure that AI systems, they work to include everybody within the society or the population and in the specific context that it is being used. And then also we are looking at human oversight. Human beings, we are the ones who created AI. We have to be the ones making sure that AI is working as it is supposed to. Now, the White House has issued AI governance executive order, right? And we are going to go through that real quick. And that was issued late 2023, right? They have executive order that ensures AI safety and security, right? So the safe use of AI and the security of AI. And this is it's a pretty simple document. So I encourage everybody to get their hands on it and to read through and understand exactly what this executive order is about. Mostly executive orders and those documents, they can be a bit boring, but this one, because it borders on cybersecurity and AI, it is pretty fun to me. I mean, so we are going to look at why they came up with this was to help ensure AI safety and security. And this is a very comprehensive strategy that provides a framework for establishing a new standard to manage the risks inherent in AI technology. And in the United States, there was no such executive order. Right now, NIST has come up with an AI risks framework as well. So we are going to briefly, look at that. I think it's NIST AI. You know how NIST has the NIST special publication 800 dash something 800 dash. Now they have NIST, not special publication, but NIST AI. I think this is 601 for AI risk management. So kindly take a look at that for folks who will be interested in looking more into that. So on the government side, this executive order is to make sure that our AI safety and security standards are kept up to a higher standard, and we are also protecting all our sensitive data as well. Now, so these are some of the key areas of this executive order. We are not going to go through them and explain them really in depth, but one, AI safety and security. The next one is privacy protection. The next one is equity and civil rights. So most of these, when we break them down, we've touched on most of these, right? So this mandates developers of powerful AI systems for AI safety and security to share safety test results of their AI systems with the US government, and then also agencies that they want to work with who also want to see this, right? Now, data privacy, the type of data they are receiving and what they are using to train, they also have to make sure they are staying in compliance with this executive order. Now, when it comes to civil rights, also same thing. Everything that we talked about, respecting people's rights and making sure you are not going against the normal data privacy rules and standards that we have. Now, in the United States, there's no single data privacy framework or law, right? There are different ones for different states, but no single one for the whole entire country. Now, also as part of the executive order, we have consumer, patient, student protection as well. Now, this is also speaking to protecting the data that you are going to receive from your consumers or patients or students, and also worker support. So for workers who are going to be displaced because AI is going to replace maybe whatever they were doing, there has to be some form of support for them to transition into other career path, other career fields, or even to transition back into AI. And we looked at, some of these already, doing retraining or putting in place, measures for retraining. And this is all going to fall under worker support. Right now, promoting innovation, and then also competition. So we do not have to make sure, we do not have to, give this market alone to some of the big, tech companies. It should be open market, allow smaller companies to also be able to come up with innovative ideas. Now, this is all going to be on the government side to be able to regulate and make sure this doesn't become a monopoly like some other areas have become. Now, global leadership in AI, the United States is pushing to be a global leader in the AI space. Government use of AI, this executive order also addresses the government use of AI as well. So all these, very nice read. Kindly, you can dig more into it. But, we are jumping into another phase. And before we do, if you are looking to jump into cybersecurity, if you've gone through some training, you are looking to really get to the point where you can actually start working, look into our cybersecurity entry-level course. And then also for specialization, our PCI DSS course is going to be the course that is going to put you to that level where you can make 200K plus in the security field. And for folks who are looking to get their hands dirty, working on different cybersecurity projects, your real-world cybersecurity experience starts with our cybersecurity workshop and internship. So with that, we are going to jump back into our discussion for tonight. But before we do, you can also join our cybersecurity WhatsApp group. And then also for our YouTube channel, if you subscribe, you are going to be seeing this live. And then also the recording will be posted as well. So now we are going to look at what we call the levels of AI governance, right? With the levels of AI governance, there are different levels, but there is no universal, standardized levels for AI governance, right? Although AI governance is a thing, it is still a growing field for the most part. Just like how AI itself, it's been there for a while, but it is still growing, right? So AI governance is still gradually growing, and maybe other subsequent cyber chats we will discuss careers in AI in general, including AI governance, right? And give you some perspectives and the money aspect of it, and working from home, and you are going to have a better perspective of the AI side of the house as well. So for the levels of AI governance, like I said, there is no standardized level cross board. We have a structured approach and frameworks that have been developed for various entities by different entities that you have to adapt and use based on the need of your organization, right? So for when it comes to these standard with the levels, we are going to look at some of them. We have informal level, ad hoc level, and then formal level. So for informal level, is the least intense approach to AI governance based on the values and the principles of the organization. There are some, like you have some of the items that we looked at, all the elements of AI governance. Some of them will be implemented, but not all of them. So it is not formally structured, or like we are following, doing the best that the company can do, but it is not really well organized and formally structured. And this is where you find most companies, right? So they are still struggling and making sure, they are trying to keep up with what is going on in AI governance. Now, the next level that we are going to look at is your ad hoc governance, and this is a step ahead of your informal governance. But this involves the development of specific policies and procedures for AI governance. And this type of governance is often developed in response to specific challenges or risks, and might not be comprehensive as you want it to be, or systematic. Now, the one that is comprehensive and systematic is your formal AI governance for your company. Now, this is the highest level of AI governance, and it involves the development of a comprehensive AI governance framework. And the framework will reflect the organization's values and principles, and it will align with the relevant laws and regulations within which the company finds itself. So the formal governance framework will typically include risk assessment, ethical review, oversight, human oversight as well. And it will make sure that if the company itself, you not just use AI, but if they also are producing or they develop any system in the space of AI, they are also making sure they are eliminating any form of bias that might, find its way into the AI system that they have, or the AI system that they are going to have other companies use. So we are going to look at some of the AI governance regulations that are out there today, right? We looked at the U.S. government. The U.S. government came up with an executive order. Other government agencies or other governments around the world, they also have their own. So the AI governance and practices as we have it today, different countries are doing different things to prevent bias and discrimination, which is very key, right? You wouldn't want to go to Google and you type in to search for maybe the best maybe the best restaurant in your area, right? And Google has been configured to discriminate against restaurants. So Google will not show you anything, or say, will give you something like restaurants are bad, or give you something on those lines, right? That is not good. So Google also has an AI twist. It has had that for a long time. Now, when you type anything in Google, they try to mimic or have a direct AI response before the general Google response. But that is just by the way. We are moving into AI governance regulations by different organizations and different countries. Now, EU has the EU AI Act. The United States, they have the SR 11.7. Canada has the Canadian Directive on Automated Decision Making. Europe, they have the Evolving AI Regulation. And then also we have for Asia, they have the AI governance regulation and guidelines in the Asia Pacific region, right? These are regulations for these different continents and countries. Now, we are not going to jump because of time, go in depth into all these different laws. Maybe some other cyber chats, we can do that. Now, for the frameworks, we are going to look at AI governance frameworks, just like how we have cybersecurity frameworks like NIST Cybersecurity Framework, ISO 27701, PCI DSS, and the rest. We have similar one for AI governance. Now we have the OECD AI principles. That is one framework. We have the NIST AI risk management framework. That is NIST AI 601, 600-1, or 601, right? Look into that. That is also a fun read. And we have the AIP EU Artificial Intelligence Act. This is for EU, European Union. This is a framework from them as well, similar to GDPR. And then we have Singapore's model AI framework, as that is for Singapore. ISO also, they have the ISO 42 standards for that focuses also on AI. Microsoft has the Microsoft's Responsible AI Act, and this is for Microsoft. Microsoft also has they came up with their own AI framework as well, and that is all the frameworks. Now we were going to look at careers also as well, AI governance careers, but that will be a subject for. We wanted to put all the AI career paths all together in one cyber chat, which I think is going to be fun. But with that, we'll move into questions. If there are any questions from the audience, you can kindly bring it up whilst we go through and give some shout out to our folks who are joining us tonight. And hopefully everybody was able to learn or get something new for their toolbox today. So let's jump into the chat. If you have any questions, kindly bring it up as we are going through the chat and looking at questions that might pop up in here. So, and then also we give some shout outs as we are going through, right? So before we do, for contacts, for folks who are looking to reach out to get into any of the programs that we are offering, our contacts has been posted, so you can look into the chat. You find that in there as well. So I saw, okay, next AI, okay, that is 600-1. I think Geoffrey put 100-1. I'm not sure if it's 100. It's 600-1, not 100. Okay, so let's go through the chat real quick, and then we will give the floor. Jamal, please go ahead.
Hey, Dr. Adu. So I don't know if you remember, but a few months ago, this is what I was asking about. So I'm very interested in it. Remember, I was asking who was governing the people that were putting the information in. So I'm actually drawn to this because I know how important it is, and I definitely want to look more into it to add on, to the PCI DSS. But this, I think, is vitally important. This is the ground floor of this, and I think that I would almost do this for nothing. That's how important it is.
Yes, very important. And for everybody, I hope everybody was here at the beginning when we started. How there is an AI tool that is being used by law enforcement. It's called Compass, and that is what judges use to make their judgments and their decisions, right? And it has been found to be biased towards blacks. So what that tool does is a risk management tool. It is used to rate people based on the tendency of them being reoccurring, or for them to be to commit crimes again, right? So for blacks, if you are black and white, we have almost the same criminal history. It is going to rate the black guy higher than the white guy, and that is not just me saying it. It's been in the news. You can check Compass software, AI software, for law enforcement. There's a whole different articles on it, and people are really pushing that agenda. And it is not, I like I stand to be corrected, but what the main thing is, there's a bias in the data that is being fed with, right?
Yeah, that's
So that is
because
why,
that's the way it is in real life, Dr. Adu.
yes, and this is serious thing. This can change your life. This can change the life of your family members, right? But we might think, oh, it's just AI. But now this is going to, they are using this to make pronouncements, to make judgments in courts, right? So, I mean, this is serious. It's not your usual IT thing that, you can choose to care or not to care. Divine, please go ahead.
Thank you, Doc. My question is a little bit with respect to frameworks. So a careful evaluation reveals to me that a few of the standard bodies of the GR standard bodies are trying their best to catch up with AI. So if you look at NIST has an extension already, ISO already has their own extension. They have even for the 2001. So for a framework like, if you are trying to catch up, but for a framework like PCI, is there any work which is being done at the level of the council to ensure that they try to catch up with the risks that will be brought by organizations that store, process, and transmit critical data with AI in their models? Because I take a case of, we auditing a company that has AI in some part of their information ecosystem, and that will come with some inherent risks, as we have seen already. So far, there has been in the latest publication in 4.0, there has been no information, or there has been no sub requirements of the 300 sub requirements. There is none of them that clearly addresses the risks of AI. So, is there any work which is being done at the moment at the level of the PCI Council as an organization or as a framework to try to catch up with AI as others are trying to do?
Yeah, so I believe there is, right? They've not actually reached out to stakeholders like they usually do for input, but I think they might be working on something. There will be something in the pipeline, right? But great question, Divine. I think this is something really for PCI to answer, but I'm just speculating, or I'm just making some guesstimation. There might be something in the pipeline. But you brought, you have a very valid point. They should have had that in 4.0 and 4.01. But I don't know for whatever reason, because for whatever reason that they might have, they made some general pronouncement that might cover, if you stretch it enough, it might cover AI tools and systems. But they didn't specifically or categorically or explicitly address AI, right? So you have a valid point, but I think they might be working on something like that, right? Ian, please go ahead.
So what do you think will be like the next major advancement in AI, and do you know if the government has any plans on possibly regulating this next advancement?
So for advancement in AI is like gradual everyday something, right? It's not going to be a big leap because AI has been around for a while. It just became a big buzzword in the past 2 years, and everybody's tagging along. Even things that are not AI related, they just, if you put AI in front of it, everybody will buy, right? So next, we are calling Eretmis Cyber Chat AI Cyber Chat, right? And then people are coming all over the place to join and just to join the AI Cyber Chat, but there will really nothing AI related to it, right? So for the next big thing in AI, I cannot really speculate on that because there are different tools, there are different systems that uses AI. But for the government side, mostly for your regulations when it comes to the IT space, you want to make it as general to be able to catch as much as possible, right? So on the AI side, I think the executive order that they brought up covers the main big problems are what we just looked at in AI, right? Bias, transparency, and ethics. Those are the main, regardless of whatever AI tool that is and what it is being used for. Those are some of the critical issues, that always keep coming up. So I think if you address those for whatever AI advancement tool that will come up, you'll still be able to at least manage it to make sure it is working right and it is being fair to everybody, right? So, but great question and great question. Divine, go ahead. You have your hands up again.
Yes, Doc. This time, I'm coming from the angle of global governance. I have a particular soft spot for the African continent in general. So, for a few of the countries in the West, notably the US and the EU in general, are already doing work as well to catch up with AI and the risks that it brings. I am not too sure of exactly how much information is out there or how much effort the African continent is making. If we were to assist the African continent as a whole, notably, I'm thinking about a country like Rwanda, Ghana, South Africa, where from a global, from a state level, they seem to be some I will call it management support. They seem to be the governments seem to be conscious of technology advancement and trying to do something in that area. So if we were to assist the African continent, what is there that can be done to help Africa address the AI governance in general? What are some of the areas that African states should tackle? What are the key areas if Africa were to begin an AI governance journey, a best practice for AI governance? What are the key areas that you will advise governments to focus on? Because earlier in the discussion, I tried to pick up. You sounded like you sounded like advising on a unified, on the creation of a unified platform or unified approach, especially at the state level, which can tackle all the angles and all the areas of AI as a government. So what are the areas that you would advise governments to touch, the key areas, the key pillars that you would advise African governments to touch so as to speed up their advancement and to catch up with those of the West?
Okay, so just like my advice to any government when it comes to cybersecurity, governance, right? And that is why you are there in the first place, is to govern. So everything starts with governance. When it comes to AI, cybersecurity, name it, if you don't have the necessary rules and regulations in place, you wouldn't be able to drive anything in that sector, right? So if you want to ensure that you have good AI governance, then you have to start coming up with policies and regulations, just like how the US, Asia, EU, that is how they are all starting it, right? Because that is what is going to guide you. If somebody falls short of that, that is what you're going to use in court to make sure you put them straight, right? If there are no rules and regulations, then anybody can do anything. Somebody will come to your country with their tool and they are going to do harm, but you cannot take them on because you have nothing to speak to that, right? So when it comes to cybersecurity for governments, when it comes to AI for governments, first point, of course, should be your regulations and your policies and executive orders that you can put in place, and it's not just one. You can have a general one, just like how you can have a general cybersecurity policy, but there are different cybersecurity policies within the organization that addresses different areas of cybersecurity. Same thing. There can be one general, AI governance regulation or AI governance standard for the country, but then you have specific ones addressing different areas. So, for example, you can have one for transparency, you can have one for bias and fairness, you can have one for which is going to be very extensive, and you address all areas that you want to, touch, because this is a very broad area. But for governments, that is where you are supposed to start, right? For organizations, same thing. That is where you're supposed to start. Everything starts with governance. Geoffrey, please go ahead.
Yeah, Doc, thank you so much. I think NIST AI 1001, 100-1 and NIST AI 6001 are two different things. NIST AI 100-1 was released in January 2023 and was designed to help organizations manage risks that are associated with the AI systems by incorporating trustworthiness and considerations into their design and development. But NIST AI 6001-1 was artificial intelligence risk management framework, which has to do with generative AI intelligence profile. And that was released in January 26, 2024. So they are two different things.
Okay. So I was referring to AI risk management when I saw, so 101 does not address AI risk management. It's the 601 that is what address AI risk management. Right. But thank you for that clarification. Now, Mike, please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Edu. So my question, or probably an observation, is got to do with the fact that there is a need to collect like large data or a lot of data to help with training the AI models or the systems that we are putting in place. But there is also the concept of data minimization. So my question is, wouldn't that be a challenge, or what is your take on that? Or how do we get around that? We want to collect as much data as we can, but then the concept of also minimizing the amount of data so as not to expose a lot of data is also there. So how do we
Okay,
balance
so for training AI, they are not necessarily depending on what type of AI system. They like the example that I gave. ChatGPT was sued by Game of Thrones owners because they were using the Game of Thrones books to train ChatGPT. Right. Now, Game of Thrones, the book itself is not necessarily a sensitive data. It's a fiction. I mean, it's the intellectual property, yes, but it's in the public space, right? Now, if you're talking about sensitive or PII and information like that, they cannot just be using people's PII and others to train their AI, which maybe some, they might be doing that under the table somewhere. I don't know, right? But when it comes to training AI, you need, depending on the type of AI system, you need a lot of data. So as a company, if you are the one developing the AI tool, then you have to balance, you still have to be working on your cybersecurity best practices, but data minimalization shouldn't, come in the question if you need a lot of data to work, right? You have to balance security and usability and, to meet security doesn't have to be overly overbearing that to the point where you cannot work or systems that you are using wouldn't be able to function. So you have to just balance the two, right?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mike. So a little shout out to everybody on here. Nicole is joining us from Atlanta, Georgia. Elico is joining us from Illinois. Andrew is joining us from Pittsfield, MA, and Rachel is joining us from Ohio. Michael from Vancouver, Canada. We have Sue, if I got that right, from Charlotte, North Carolina, and Dr. Arini is in Ghana. Dr. Arini, when did you get back to Ghana? I was of the view you were in the States. I didn't know you were in Ghana already. Lavette, Maryland, and Miss Vivian joining us from Charlotte, North Carolina. And we have Hannah joining us from New York. Kweku is saying no sound. We have Gabriel from Ghana also joining us from Ghana. Wow, is I think past midnight in Ghana. Thank you for all folks joining us from Ghana. We have Kweku joining us from Virginia. David from Virginia. Freddie from San Antonio, Rosie from Maryland, and David put Team Live in there. We have Janice from California joining us from California, Bola from Atlanta, and George also joining us from Ghana, Nee from London. Appreciate our folks joining us from different time zones. Glenda, North Carolina, Kwame, Maryland, Ian joining us from Maryland as well. Ebuka joining us from Florida. And we have a lot of team lives in there. And okay, pull down voluntary. Okay, so I think there was just some comments in there and then no sound. I think the sound became better as we were moving along. If you put a question in there and we were not able to address it, kindly, you can raise your virtual hand and bring it up. But those were all the folks who put where they are joining us from in there, except there's any that I'm missing. Either than that, thank you, everyone. Miss Vivian put wonderful presentation. Thank you, Miss Vivian. Insightful. Godwin also put his comment in there, insightful presentation. And hopefully, hopefully everybody got something out of this. This is serious than our usual. I mean, all our discussions on cybersecurity and other areas are equally important, but this has really, like a big implication when it comes to our day-to-day living and what we do, and some favorable actions that we can get on the government side, on the corporate side as well. So we all have to take this seriously and make sure we are educating ourselves well on this to understand what is going on. We also have Mahmoud joining us from South Carolina, Augustine from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Kerry from Indiana, Andy from Keytown. Hopefully I got that right. And then Divine from Boston, joining us from PCI headquarters. Ato joining us from Springfield, and Kevin joining us from Maryland, and Emeka joining us from Houston. Eric from Toronto, Canada. Appreciate everybody's time. Augustine, please go ahead and we will wrap up for tonight. Oh, Jason joining us from Japan. Jeffrey joining us from Savannah. Augustine, you are muted. Yes, kindly go ahead.
Thanks so much for this educative session, man. I appreciate it. But however, I joined a bit late anyways. The question that I have, I'm aware about the governance, aspect of cybersecurity. When you say AI governance, is this like a whole career opportunity all by itself in the governance of cybersecurity? Like a whole opportunity I don't know if that's the right wording. Just more job opportunity. Like,
is that a field?
Yeah.
Are you asking if that is like a field on its own? Yes.
So is it pretty new?
So yes, AI governance is still growing, right? If cybersecurity is your 18-year-old brother, AI governance is probably your 5-year-old, little brother, right?
Okay, so I mean, like when I talk about job market, how like how good is it right now? Let's say I want to like um I want to change careers now. I want to focus on AI governance. Like how good is the market?
Okay, so when we do a session on AI careers, I think we will like that is going to be one of the items that we're going to talk about. Now, if you're already in cybersecurity, it's very easy for you to pivot easily without even doing that much into AI governance, because
Oh,
everything that you are doing for AI governance is no different from what you are doing for cybersecurity governance, right? Actually, you are doing more in cybersecurity governance than you'll be doing in AI governance. Now, also the twist to it is in cybersecurity governance, you are doing everything, including data privacy and all that. In AI governance, you are doing that also as well. But the twist is AI. You have to understand deep learning, machine learning, how they are putting all these data together, right? But you are not going to be the one developing an AI tool. But for the folks developing the AI tool, what are the guardrails that we are going to put in place for them? That way they don't go overboard, right? So it's a whole field. Yes. So companies are catching up to it. So now there are a handful of jobs out there, right? So yes, it is a growing field. I cannot say it has the same number of job opportunities as cybersecurity, but it is growing, right? Companies will have to they have to understand and know the need for it before they will put money to it and bring people on board. But for AI companies, guess what they are doing? Yes, they most definitely need somebody for AI governance, right? But for your general other normal companies on the corporate side, they are catching up to it gradually. Just like how before, companies didn't see the need to employ a cybersecurity professional, but when everything was going, on the wrong side, and they quickly realized, hey, we need to, stack up and have a whole army of cybersecurity professionals to help us before we become one of the items on the news, right? So AI governance is gradually also getting there, and most of the AI roles are also gradually getting there, right? So yes, you can start looking into that as a career opportunity if that is something that you want to do. But this was to start the whole AI governance conversation.
all right. Thanks a lot. Yeah, the question's answered.
Yes. All right, everyone. I appreciate everybody's time. We are wrapping up for tonight. I appreciate everybody's time, and I wish everybody a great weekend. Our contacts have been put in the chat, and if you are looking to, get any help, assistance, anything cybersecurity related or AI related, even, you can always reach out, and we'll be more than happy to help. And for next week, we are still hopefully we are going to meet for another session of Cyber Chat. I appreciate everybody's time. You could have been anywhere at this time on a Friday night, but you chose to be here, and we don't take that for granted. And hopefully you got something for your toolbox. Like we always say, when you join us, we make sure you're always going to get something for your toolbox and for you to grow as a professional, as a security professional, and in any profession that you are in currently. So appreciate everybody's time. Wrapping up for the night. Have a great and wonderful weekend, and we are going to meet next week, same time.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Dr. Du.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night, everyone.